I'm Ryan Faught, and I'm comparing the living conditions between the 13 colonies, myself, my grandma. The teenhood years I will be talking about will be around the years 1623 to 1629 for the 13 colonies. My grandma was a teen from 1955 to 1961, and I am a teen from 2010 to 2016. New Hampshire has a lot of mountains. There is over 1,300 lakes and rivers that are spread all over the state. There was only one seaport in the New Hampshire colony. It was called Portsmouth. The colony had little diseases because of the cold, freezing winters. They also had mild summers. Inland there was many rolling hills and mountains. By the shore there was flat and rocky land. Because of this rocky soil, it was very hard to farm and grow a crop. The bordering states of New Hampshire are New York, Maine, and Massachusetts. New Hampshire became a state June 21st, 1788. My grandma moved around Iowa for a long time but mostly lived in Mason City, Iowa. The Winnebago River runs through the town. Has flat and rich farming land. Mason City was founded after Clear Lake. In my teen years I have lived in Clear Lake, Iowa. It has many farms and a lake. Here we have extreme seasonal temperatures with harsh winters and hot, humid summers. We have short springs and falls. Clear Lake was established in 1851. An attraction we have is the Surf Ballroom. Buddy Holly played there one night, then died in a plane crash that same night. We also have many windmills and great scenery. The teens in the 13 colonies had many chores. The boys worked on farms and the girls helped their moms around the house. Many worked as servants. Farming was a chore for everyone, though. My grandma had many chores, but most of them were related to farming. She fed livestock like cows, hogs, and chickens, the farm dog, and cats. My grandma picked up the chickens' eggs and separated the cows' milk from the cream so she could make and churn butter. She also remembered doing back-breaking work like baling hay and picking corn by hand. I do not have many chores as my ancestors, but I have 6 show cows, about 5 chickens, and a couple of cats I feed. I also do the dishes, take out the trash, and on some days I try to do the laundry. Transportation has changed greatly over the years, but back in the colonial years they mostly walked. In the winter they used sleds to travel over the snow and ice. They traveled to the Americas in big ships with sails. Also, small boats were what they used in the ocean for fishing. They were mostly rowboats. In my grandma's time, they were starting to get new, nicer cars. Her family's main source of transportation was a Jeep with a canvas top. She told me that her and other children were very crunched together in that vehicle. Today, we have many more ways to travel. We get from place to place by train, plane, car, and many other ways. These days we go farther places and get there in faster times than others did in the past. The kids in the colonial times had many little toys, but they found ways to play. Some games they played with each other were hide and seek, leapfrog, blindman's buff, and marbles. Most of their games did not require much equipment because they did not have the materials that we have today. My grandma's entertainment was mostly movies and roller skating. She also played board games like Monopoly and Chutes and Ladders. She told me she remembered her family's first TV. Back then they were in black and white, she said. Americans in the 21st century have found many ways to entertain themselves. Some of them are TV, sports, iPods, Wiis, Xboxes, and computer games. All of these things are improving and upgrading throughout every day. Still, some teens play board games, but not many. The government was the church in everything when it came to the colonial times. The governor of the New Hampshire colony in 1623 was Walter Neal. They were very strict in their government and church. The government in my grandma's time was fairly stable. The president was Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was the 34th president of the United States at that time. The leadership was way better than it is now today. Our government today is falling apart at a pretty good rate. We have three branches of government: legislative and judicial and executive. Our economy is in very bad shape, and we are trillions of dollars in debt. Colonial children sang hymns, chants, folk songs, and church songs. They adapted music from the Native Americans. Southwest New Tune was the first short hymn of the new music. My grandma did not listen to the rap and hip-hop we have today. She heard the radio where you could not choose the music by yourself. We still use it today, but not as much. Roy Rogers was one of the country artists they listened to then. Today, I like to listen to country music, but many teens rap and fast-rolling music. Music these days has a big impact on our lives. The tunes we hear are everywhere we go. Artists these days express what they hear and see through their music. A change people in the colonial times had to deal with was when the churches started to lose power. They lost power because of the Salem witch trials. Many people thought that people were witches, so they hung them. The church thought of all these things, so the government took over power. My grandma's change was she had to move a lot around the state of Iowa. Her dad was a hired hand for many different people. He migrated all around. They met many different people, but they forgot about many people when they moved again. She finally settled down in Mason City, Iowa, and her dad started his own farm. An event I had to overcome was moving from Manly to Clear Lake. I moved right after second grade. I left many friends behind, but made new ones very quickly. If I did not know it then, it was a big change, and it was a good change too. We only moved down the interstate, which was not very far. There are many similarities and differences between the colonial times, my grandma and myself, but all find a way around things either way. That is the conclusion of my presentation.